Hey everyone, it's John Brown, the one and only Bandana Gamer, coming to you with another episode of Contravania, the show where we bring together things we love with amazing people that we love. And tonight, on the show with me, as always, is the Patriot fan himself, but I love him anyway. 8-Bit Glitch 79, Shawnee Boy,
Hey,
how you doing?
Doing great. Glad to be here again.
Your Patriots are doing pretty well. Belichick is working his magic.
Up. Yes, they are. We're only like 4 more games left this season, I think, right now.
Yeah,
so
coming down.
It's looking pretty good. So hopefully we can hold our own throughout it.
Yeah,
might be looking pretty good.
Yeah. So football died again for me last night. You know, being a University of Georgia alumni. Dominant team all throughout the season, and about Alabama eats our lunch again. So sports is stupid. Okay, sports is just stupid, and people who have their favorite teams tattooed on their ankle, they're just lame. But moving on, Captain Algebra, first time with us. How you doing, buddy?
I am great. So excited to be here. I mean, you did say you have amazing people on the show. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I am people. So there's that.
First of all, you know how to do math.
That's
so
true.
my hat is
Sometimes.
off to you.
Yes.
Sometimes.
At least Monday through Friday from, September 1st until like June 10th.
Yeah, and then for like 2 months, like, you just don't know numbers. And
Nope, not at all.
So, but dude, you're a teacher. We have to give it up for teachers. Y'all are like killing it right now. Y'all are doing things that people never thought they'd have to do. So kudos, man, and thank you.
Well, appreciate that. It definitely doesn't feel like that sometimes. It's been a rough year, but we're doing what we can do.
That is the motto. So before we get into our topic in video games, since we just talked Patriots with Sean, I feel like it's only fair to talk Titans with you. How you Titans doing? I apologize. It seems that the gift we sent y'all, being from Atlanta, did not pan out the way that some people thought it would have.
Now, granted, what we sent you from Tennessee hasn't really worked out that well for Atlanta either. So,
well, we've got those draft picks coming in a couple of months.
But yeah, Tennessee has actually been kind of surprising. I didn't think they'd be this good. Of course, Derrick Henry went out, and now Ryan Tannehill is showing how good he really is, and he is terrible. Mm-hmm. But, and of course we just lost to the Patriots. Just another reason to hate them. Just another reason.
Been there with you, buddy.
So the whole time I'm watching that game, every time I saw Mac Jones's face, he just made me mad. There's something about his face. It's not a good face.
Oh, he's a Patriot.
John. I don't know if you've noticed that, but he looks weird in a helmet.
He's a Patriot and he's from Alabama, so I double hate the guy right now.
He's got two things going for him, huh?
Yeah.
But hopefully, Bandana, Georgia can beat Michigan and then beat Alabama for the national championship. That'd be even better.
Yeah, and maybe they'll institute a system where it's like championship belts, and we'll get the SEC title as well as the national title. Both titles on the line.
There you go. Let's do it.
So there's still hope. We knew there would be, and if we were going to lose an important game, that was the important one to lose. But I don't think people are watching this show to hear us talk about sports. But maybe we should start that. Oh man. April 1st, that's going to be the podcast we do. We're just going to talk sports the whole time.
They're going to be like, when are they going to get to the video games?
So,
yeah, right.
So what's everyone playing these days? Cap, what you been playing these days? What have you been beating? What is the count up to? As if you don't know Cap keeps a count of the hundreds upon millions upon thousands upon trillions. See, that's how bad I'm at numbers. I know those are way out of order. Of games he beats. What's the count at this year?
It is currently at 114. So I got there yesterday. I beat Golden Axe 3.
Okay.
I got a repro cart at Mo Game Con when I was there because I won a trivia competition, which was fun. What else am I playing? I'm currently playing Blaster Master 03. I just got that from Limited Run.
And I haven't started that yet.
Yeah, I ran through the first 2 back in July, and then they were selling the 3rd one, so I bought that. And I love the series. So enjoying that so far. I just recently beat Darksiders the War Master Edition on PS4. Nice. That was a pretty good God of War clone. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the main games I've been playing lately.
Yeah. So, War Master, God of War clone, you are one of the experts in the God of War genre. Where does it stack in terms of God of War clones, and how close is it to God of War itself?
I mean, I would say it's close to God of War because they copied so much from God of War. I mean, you're just, a lot of the stuff you get in the game, it's like, wow, this is just blatantly ripped right out of God of War. But it's good. I would say I like Dante's Inferno more.
Okay.
But it's a fun game. There was a part in the end that really annoyed me. You get this thing called the Void Walker, so you can open up portals, and the game kind of becomes like Portal and Portal 2 and stuff. And that got kind of annoying to try and figure out some of those puzzles. And you had to do it like 3 times, like 3 sections of this dungeon, and it's just like, okay, it just overstayed its welcome.
Gotcha. Okay, that seems right. It seems like a mechanic they were trying to shoehorn in. That's like, hey, God of War didn't do this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, Shawnee, how's Unmetal? Talk about your stint with Unmetal on Vita.
Woo! Yes, I got this at Too Many Games and finally broke it out when I went to MGC, and that's when I started it because I brought my Vita. Because I was flying, I didn't want to bring my Switch and a bunch of stuff. I was trying to pack as light as possible. So I said, let's play the Vita. So I got this, and this just came out. I know it's digital on the Switch right now. So if anyone's interested, they can try it on there. I know it's on Steam, of course, but I don't think it's on like Xbox or PS4 yet, or if it's gonna be. But it's basically a love letter to Metal Gear Solid, but like the NES one kind of style. So it's that kind of look. It's very 8-bit looking, but it's very. So it
looks like you.
Yes, exactly. It looks just like me.
Thanks for making that joke, because I was like, do I go?
I was like, someone had to make it.
Yeah. It's but they take the story is very comical. It's hilarious. Okay. The jokes in it are just great. But it's really fun gameplay. The bosses can be a little bit challenging, but not overly. And I don't know if it was my Vita or this game, but every once in a while I would get an error, and I'd have to reboot the Vita. It would just like error. It would give me some kind of array error or something. And so it was so frustrating because I finally beat the boss at the end, and it's going through the final cutscene to tie up the story and do everything. All of a sudden, right in the middle of it, boom, the error message. I'm like, oh, you son of a gun. So I like reset it and thinking, okay, maybe it's going to pick up right at the story so I can finish it. No, I had to beat the boss all over again. So that was a little bit frustrating. So, but that's the last thing I just beat. Right now, I'm just going through a couple of other things. Maybe I'll show it off, but I just get another Holy Grail. Chippendales 2.
Yeah.
I picked it up. This I missed out on at MGC thanks to Captain wanting to bring me to lunch.
Sorry. Never bring you out on a lunch date again.
It's a good thing because I got it at a significant discount compared to what it was the copy at MGC was. So
that's good.
In a way, I thank you, Captain. You saved
me. See? I always have a plan, 8-bit. Always got a plan.
Yeah,
so that's probably my next thing I'm playing is going to be playing through that. But this really got me on the Vita train. Like I've had a Vita just to play around with it in a few games and stuff, but wasn't really like into it. Like I'm like, oh, it's neat, it's fun. But once I played that, now I'm like, there's some other games I don't have on the Vita that I'm like, I think I want to go grab those. But the problem is they're so pricey now because they're so hard to find. But I'm thinking now maybe better than waiting till later.
Yeah.
And some of those.
Yeah. Vita, I had a Vita for a good minute and loved a lot of time. Windjammers especially. I played Persona 4 Golden on it, and it was just kind of recognizing when we were moving, I'm like, I need less stuff. Okay, Persona 4 is on PlayStation 2. Windjammers is on everything. I think it's okay to let this go, and most everything else has now come to Switch in some form or the other.
Yeah.
But no, I'm right there. It's a beautiful system.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anything bad about the Vita. Everyone seems to love theirs.
It's like to me, it is the portable Sega Dreamcast. It's just that system that was like a little bit too far ahead of its time in a way, and just has a niche audience. Yeah, there's not really anything to be said about it other than the memory card. Everyone critiques the memory card.
Yeah,
those things are
that's
ridiculously dumb and expensive.
Yeah, I heard a little rumor. I haven't looked into it. I literally just heard it today. Something about a PlayStation system that looks like a Switch. So I gotta look into that. If anybody knows anything, down in the comments when you watch this, let us know. But I haven't had a chance yet to look into it, but I saw it, a little brief, like kind of in the underground waves of information about a PlayStation system that looks very reminiscent of the Switch. So could be a Vita 2. Who knows? You know.
Oh. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are trying to get in. Like I'm seeing a lot of portables coming from different places. With the success of the Switch, I mean, Steam's got theirs on the way. Yep. I'm actually excited about the Steam ones, but that's a conversation for another day. That's the whole digital, physical, and if us talking digital, physical, it's like I agree. Yeah, I agree. That's yeah. In terms of what I've been playing, if you've noticed, I'm not in a bandana. That's because I can't tie one right now, and that hurt. Lovely broke my elbow riding bikes on Saturday, so took a couple of days before I could even hold a controller again. But I've gotten there. I've started out slow, sank into some more Forza Horizon 5, which is a beautiful game. Makes me still proud to be Team Xbox. And I played my most successful game of Halo ever. I think I had like 4 kills, which is a big deal for me. Pat on the back.
That's the secret. You break your elbow, you become a Halo god. There you go.
It's like that movie.
But how many deaths did you have?
Let's not talk about it, man. Why you got to call me out on my show, man? I'm not like on your
what your KD spread was. That's all I want to know, man.
I'm not on like your stream going, hey man, I wouldn't have made that awesome jump. It still comes back to bashing me. And of course I've still been rocking Pokemon, which one is this? Brilliant Diamond. Which
is that the one that just came out?
Yeah, that's the remake of the DS ones. Okay. They're fun. They're Pokemon games. Like that formula is pretty tried and true. So it's got some vibes of the Switch's Link's Awakening. So, but that brings us into the conversation I want to have this whole, and I've been wanting to have Captain on for this specific topic. We talk a lot about the games we love, and we'll talk about that intertwined in this, but consoles we love and why we love them. And the main reason for Cap being on the show, and this is where we're going to start, is Cap, you are going for the quest. You're on the quest for a complete Sega Genesis set. Now, if I remember correctly, you grew up as a Super Nintendo kid? Is that right?
I grew up with both.
Okay,
I was one of the lucky kids that had both.
Okay. So why the Genesis set? Or talk us through your love for Genesis, why the Genesis set, and everything.
Yeah, so like I said, I was fortunate to grow up with that. When that console war was going on, I didn't take sides. I loved both. Super Nintendo, Genesis, whatever. They're fun to play. But when I started doing the Genesis A to Z on my streams, it made me realize how many good Genesis games are out there that I didn't even know about or didn't even give a chance to because I just kept playing the same old Genesis games over and over again. Streets of Rage 2, Sonic the Hedgehog, Buster's Hidden Treasure. Those are like my 3 main games. Golden Axe 2, Altered Beast. Some of the main games that I always played as a kid, and I didn't experience any of the other ones. And I just always loved the look of the clamshell. And, I was, in my game room looking around. It's like, God, those Genesis boxes just look really nice on the shelf. And it'd be kind of cool to have a complete collection. And so I was toying with that idea for a while. And it kind of came at the wrong time, with COVID going on, game prices going sky high. It's like, ooh, I probably shouldn't be doing this right now. But I was like, you know what? I need a goal. Because usually when I go to cons or game stores, I just kind of randomly just look for games I want. And it's really hard when you're collecting for like 15 different consoles at once. So
come on now, you ain't lying.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I need to focus in on something. And so I just decided on the Genesis, and I told my wife straight out, I was like, this is not something I plan to do quickly. You know, it might take me 10, 20 years. You know, it's just something to work towards. So that's kind of where it started from and where it's going.
Nice. Cool. So, what has been your top 3 Genesis moments?
Oh, man. Top 3 Genesis moments. That's tough. Number 1 has to be when I beat Streets of Rage 3. So I grew up with 1 and 2. We had both of those. And I could beat those pretty easily, especially 2. You know, I beat that every time I play it. It was my favorite beat 'em up all time. And I remember my uncle had a Sega channel because he's a cable guy. And so he got Sega channel for free. And so every time I went up to my grandparents, you know, I was able to play it. And so that's how I played Streets of Rage 3. And I was always enamored with it. Like, they had that new character, Dr. Zan. I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. But I never, ever bought it as a kid. And then I started collecting. It was like, oh, man, that's an expensive game. So I was fortunate to come across a deal a few years ago for a bunch of boxed Genesis games for super cheap. And that was in there. So I grabbed it, started playing it. It was like, wow, this game's hard. Come to find out, they made that version much harder than Bare Knuckle 3 that came out in Japan. And so I kind of put it on the shelf. I was like, this game just frustrates me. So I made it one of my goals this year to finally beat that game. And it was actually the first game I beat in 2021. Nice. And so it was pretty exciting. I wish I would have beat it on stream first, but I actually was able to get through it off stream. I still streamed it to show that I could beat it, but that was definitely probably my favorite Sega Genesis moment.
Nice.
And I guess number 2, going along with that, is when I beat it with Mega Dan. Yeah, for our last Mega Powers Monthly, we ran through that game because that was one of the first games we actually streamed together, and it kicked our butts because it was a game we weren't experienced with. You know, there's parts in the game where you have to make a decision to save, I think, the vice president or the president, something like that. But it's kind of like a maze. You have to figure out where he is, and there's a timer. And if he dies, you get the bad ending.
Yeah.
Plus, it's just a hard game. And we found out that it's harder co-op. And so to be able to get through that game, that was pretty exciting.
Yeah. And that was like a reunion. Like, y'all hadn't done a Mega Power scene. That was the first post-pandemic.
I think we had a Mega Powers in March of 2020, and then COVID came around, and like, well, can't get together with you until, you know, we get better and there's the vaccines and stuff like that. So finally, you know, we were finally able to get back together, and it was like, well, we want to make it a really cool, you know, reunion. Yeah. And so to beat that game, that was pretty exciting. As for the third, I don't know, man. That's tough. Maybe beating Castlevania Bloodlines.
That's a good
just because it is. I was kind of in a Castlevania mood, and I was playing through a lot of Castlevania games, and I always heard that one was kind of tough. And I actually even did an extra stream for it. I had like a free Sunday night, and I was like, well, I don't want to wait till next Friday to stream it again, so let's just get it done. And I got it done on stream, and it's an excellent game.
Yeah. Which character did you use? Spear or Whip? I forget their names. Trevor. Okay.
Yep.
No. Is it Trevor? No, Trevor's...
Isn't it Trevor Belmont in that one?
No.
No, it's not.
Trevor's Dracula X.
Yeah, you're right. It's John.
John.
Isn't it John?
Did you use the Spear or the Whip?
I used the Whip, but it's John, right?
Yeah. But his last name's not Belmont. He's a Belmont descendant.
That's right. Yeah. And I know Eric Lacard. He's the spear. He's the spear guy, but I can't remember John's last name.
Yeah, I love Eric Lacard. Eric Lacard's mine with the pole vault.
I'll have to play it with that.
Yeah. So being both. So like now looking at it, you didn't pick sides. The war is a couple years behind us. We've all gone through our therapies and talked about it. Are you more of a Genesis guy now, or are you still both and equally so? I know you're collecting hardcore for the Genesis.
Yeah. I mean, I love it because I'm going for a complete collection, but my heart will always belong to the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
That is, I mean, I say I didn't pick sides, but I always liked the Super Nintendo a little bit more, and it was always my favorite console. And I don't see that ever changing.
Okay. Yeah. So, 8-bit. What is some of your what's your experience with the Genesis?
Just like Captain, I grew up with both the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, so I didn't really that whole console war thing. I was oblivious to it. I didn't even know there was even a thing going on about like a console war.
I feel like we exaggerate it way more now than it actually was going. It was like, oh, probably. You have a Genesis? I'll come over to your house this afternoon. I have a Super. Yeah. You come over to my house. And then and then we all sucked up to people like you guys, like, you got both? Okay, I'm there. Let's like Friday night this thing.
But my experience with the Genesis was actually a friend of mine who I mentioned in some of my Christmas special episodes, a lot in the first one, because a lot of memories were with him and his games and stuff. We went on a camping trip, and he had just got the Genesis like that day before we left. So we went over to pick him up for camping, and he's like, look, I got the Genesis. It wasn't even out of the box yet, but we had to leave to go camping. So we're like, so we went camping, and the whole time we're camping, we're just like, we want to play the Genesis. We want to play the Genesis. Well, the whole campsite, that campground was infested with like hornets or bees. I can't remember. One of the two. And like every site, not just ours. So it was this constant battle against these hornets to the point where my parents was just like, that's it. After like one night, they're like, we're out of here. And we were like, yes. Because we went back to this place and I stayed
F you, nature.
Yeah. So it's like,
this is why we don't go in nature ever.
Yeah. So I thank the bees and the hornets for that. But that was my first experience with Genesis, was that weekend. And then right after playing it, it was the first thing was Sonic, because that's what it came with. That's what he had. And it was just like, oh my God. It did feel like such a different thing from the Super Nintendo, because that's all I had played at that point. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is amazing. And so right there, I was saving up pennies, saving up quarters, my lunch money kind of thing, until I could get my own. Yeah. And it was like magical. It definitely was a difference. It's two different worlds. Mm-hmm. When you're talking Super Nintendo and Genesis, it's, it's vastly different.
Well, I mean,
my opinion.
That's the thing. Like when you compare like console wars today versus yesteryear, like these were vastly different hardware. Like you take off the hood of the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. They're pretty much the same thing. They're PCs now. Like they're just fancified PCs, proprietary PCs.
And even like back then, you could be like, do you prefer Aladdin on the Genesis or the Super Nintendo? Yeah. Like, right now, we could be like, well, do you prefer this on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox? It's like, you could put them on next to each other
and not
like
tell.
TV, and you'd be like, I don't know which one's which. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah,
when it comes down to it.
They're nearly the same thing. They have way more of the same titles. So like when you had your console, like if you just got one, of course you were loyal to it because like that was the one you had. Like that clearly had to be the best one. But yeah, so I was primarily a Super kid, and we're going to give the Super Nintendo a lot of love here in a little bit, because it is the greatest console of all time.
It's true.
But I had a good friend. I remember when my friend Patrick got his Sega Genesis, I was still on the Nintendo. He comes up to me, he's like, guess who saved up and got their own Sega Genesis last night? I was like, I'm assuming you. Or this is a really awkward conversation.
Yeah.
And the games like Sonic, man, seeing Sonic move as fast as Sonic could move was an amazing experience. Everything looked like an arcade machine from that time. Like they relied so heavily on their arcade ports. Yeah. It was just such a cool. And I remember Mortal Kombat coming out, and of course everyone on the playground was like, Mortal Kombat's better on the Genesis. Rah! And I like what Sean talked about with Aladdin. I remember everyone was like, Aladdin has a sword on the Genesis. And I'm like, yeah. And now I'm like, Aladdin on Super Nintendo is a way better game. But you're right, he doesn't have a sword. But now looking at it, I really appreciate the hardware differences because like the Genesis sound chip is one of the I think it's one of the coolest sounding things in video games. It's Cap, why are you giving me that face with your
it's because it can be awesome, but when developers didn't know how to use it, it sounds terrible.
That's fair.
Whereas I feel like with Super Nintendo, even if you didn't know how to use it, you could still make something that sounded good.
You at least made something that sounded generic and didn't.
Yes.
Yeah, if you didn't know how to use that, like, I guess rasp, for lack of a better word, that little like hint of a staticky sound.
Yeah.
But man, the games that utilize it, I mean, Sonic was awesome. Streets of Rage, of course, soundtracks were phenomenal. And to me, the highlights, to go back to this, is like Konami. Like, Konami, I love how Konami took Castlevania Bloodlines and Contra Hardcore, the whole point of these show, and made games that were very clearly Contra and Castlevania, but also so unique to how the Genesis worked.
Right.
So, any soundtrack memories of the Genesis? Favorite soundtracks on the Genesis?
Mine's Streets of Rage 2. I've already mentioned that's one of my favorite games. I've played it so many times. It's just, I just love that entire soundtrack. I mean, Yuzo Koshiro is an amazing composer. I mean, it doesn't matter what he did. Any game he's involved with is amazing. But that one always sticks out to me. I think I like Sonic the Hedgehog 1 better than Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But, I mean, those are amazing soundtracks. Trying to think if there's any other ones that really stuck out. I mean, I like the Aladdin soundtrack. It's pretty solid on the Genesis.
Yeah. Lion King is also really solid on the Genesis, and that those versions of those beloved songs. So, Sean, you got it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Streets of Rage 2, hands down. I mean, it's my intro. It's the level ending music is my intro music for a reason. But I was like trying to go. I just have a small little intro. I just need a little bit of music. What's so good? And I'm like, instantly, first thing that came to my mind was that. So obviously that's like right up there, number one. But I think like Twin Cobra, the helicopter shooter game. There's only like 4 tracks that get repeated in that. So it like goes through all 4, and then when you go to the next 4 levels, it just repeats them again. But they're just so solid 4 great tracks that it's just. I think it's because me and my friend played it so much to try to beat it. When we finally did, we were doing the whole handoff. I can't beat this level, you beat it, and until we beat it. And it was just that memory. And so those songs are just like in my brain. You know what I mean? Like I could go to bed and like hear them in my head playing over and over again till this day. Another one that was really good was Quackshot. I love that's one of my favorite Genesis games ever. And just like it just encapsulated that Disney like feel and that whimsical, magical kind of like Disney feel. They did it really good. And I think I love the Genesis a little bit more music wise, even though it can sound horrible. But I think it's because I come from like a rock and metal kind of like love of music. That like you go to Super Nintendo and it's very orchestral and just like which is great and stuff, but I was always drawn to that like kind of like symphonic like industrial sound of the Genesis. It just was kind of called to me for some reason. It was
90s grunge for a video console. All right, so coming off the Genesis, Shawnee boy, I have a feeling like Nintendo, right? Like the original Nintendo, the foundation for most of the retro community. Like there's a couple of Atari cats, but most everybody in the retro community, their foundation is the Nintendo. Is Nintendo your favorite?
That's my favorite because it is like I played a lot of the Atari 2600, but it was kind of just like, it's sure, it's okay. I'm having fun. But then once you saw Super Mario Brothers for the first time, it's like, my God, it's like head exploding like moment. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm running, and the screen is moving. I'm not just on a screen,
dude.
This is amazing. Yeah. So it was very. It really sparked that gamer and like love right there. That's when it was like, yes, this is it. Atari 2600 was just something I did in between cartoons and playing Army outside with my friends. You know what I mean? It was just that filler thing. But then when Nintendo came along, it was like, yes, this is it. This is how it's got to be. And it was just, and to this day, it can still blow me away. Some games I haven't played on it, I'll put it in and be like, this is this is amazing. I just got Cryon Conquest, and I was playing that for a bit, and I'm like, this is a fantastic game. Sure, it's a Mega Man ripoff, but it's a fantastic game. If I had saw this as a kid, I would have been like crapping my pants. It's a great game, and it's just fun, and there's still some great titles that people haven't even played on it.
Well, and to be fair, if you're going to rip something off, Mega Man is a great place to rip off. Like,
that's true. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
If you can make a game that is like half as good as Mega Man, you have made a phenomenally good game.
That is true.
So, what's one of your favorite Nintendo? Well, like actually, backspace Control Alt delete that. Collecting wise, are you going for a complete Nintendo? Or I know you're not going to get like stadium events. Or at least until your kids are in college. If I was
going, that would be kind of off the table. I would not count that one. It's part of this set.
Stadium events, happy marriage and kids. I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, stadium events. Hello. Come
on.
Nothing like a mediocre trackpad to keep you happy at the holidays.
I've kind of always said that like it would be cool to have a complete set, and it's kind of like if it happens by accident, awesome. That's the way. If 20 years from now I go put that last one on the shelf and go, oh, that was cool, that happened, then great. But I'm not killing myself for it or anything like that. But it's a nice dream to have. But
right now your primary collecting concern is bangers of various levels.
But I call it the bangers.
Mid levels. So walk us through what a banger is.
Well, right now, I'm only focused on the bangers that I actually want to play. Not like, oh, that's great to put on my shelf, but what a shitty game. You know, like I paid $800, let's say, for this game, but it's a piece of crap, and I'm never going to play it. That's not my focus. My focus is, if I'm going to spend the money, it's going to be because I want to play the game, or it means something about, to me somehow or another, or some kind of connection. So I'm just focused on that, and I've made a list of those, and I've knocked a good chunk of that off this year. I would say maybe 75 to 80% of that list has already been done this year. Nice. So,
we'll see. You might as well go for a whole set then. You're getting all the bangers now, right? You're only have the cheap ones left.
Yeah. Well, that VGM is for my cheap ones.
Yeah, right. Are you going to go for Little Samson?
That's kind of I've been toying with that idea. And like I've been trying to think of ways to like save up, like by selling things and like just doing like odd jobs and things like that. Just weird ways to collect money and then just go to a con someday, just be like, I'll take that, my good man.
Right. Well, what sucks is like I think what the loose copy is like $3,000 right now. At least that's what I saw at Mo Game Con and Midwest. Like 3 years ago at Midwest, I saw a complete in box copy for $3,000, and it's like, God, if I only would have bought a loose copy back then.
When I went to Too Many Games in 2019 the first time, it was the first time I ever seen one in the flesh, so to speak, and it was like $1,200, and I was like, oh, damn, you know? Now I'm like, $1,200? Hold on a second, wait a minute, let me shake the couch. Hold on.
Dude, at the start of this year, I was like, I'll never pay over $150 for a game. Yeah, that's ended. That ended this year.
And then you went to a convention with me, and I peer pressured you and got you a couple bucks off.
Nice job, 8-Bit. I'm proud of you.
Basically, 8-Bit is a pusher for the retro retailers on the convention scene.
I mean, that's one of the best parts about cons is peer pressuring in someone else buying an expensive game.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you saw Dewey Nerd's last video, I threw $10 down so Tom would buy that game because he was like, "Would you do 100?" And they're like 110 only, and he's like, "Oh, he's still hemming and hawing." So I took a 10 out, and I'm like, "Now it's $100. Buy the damn game."
Let's move on with our lives.
Yeah.
Geez, you couldn't have done that for Crusader Ascenti for me? Come on, man. Couldn't have laid down like $1,000 for me?
I mean, he got me $15 off Dracula X, so I think that's like where the threshold is. Like, I think it's 10 to 20, so I think that's...
Yeah.
So, if you're at a convention and you're within $20 of a game, just go find 8-Bit and see if you can work it out. All right, so real quick, favorite off the top of your head Nintendo moment, and this is for all of us. So, but I'm going to start with 8-bit. Favorite Nintendo moment off the top of your head.
Actually, when I finally NDR'd Contra.
Oh yeah, that was a beautiful moment.
Yeah,
I remember.
As a kid, I had to use the code. That's just the way it was. And then I finally worked my way up to be able to beat it with just a couple, using a couple continues, but no code. And then finally was like, I can beat it in one continue, but I kept, I die a few times. But then that finally focusing on that NDR was like, yes! It was kind of like a 40-year, or I shouldn't say 40 because then I'd be like one, but 30-something year endeavor finally achieved in a sense.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that and getting my NES, how I got it. So those are my two, I would say.
You've done a video on getting your NES, right?
That was my first episode of the 12 Nostalgic Days Christmas. First one, yeah.
So, Cap, how about you, man?
I mean, it's going to surprise everyone who listens to this and knows me, but beating Ghosts and Goblins. Because of how much I hate that game. Oh, it is the worst game in the history of video games. I would rather play CDI Zelda games or Superman on N64. Anything. No, I think I'd rather play Ghosts and Goblins than Wind Waker. Unless I need to fall asleep, then Wind Waker's great.
Yeah. Wow. Just throwing, I know that's a highly held opinion of yours, but God, just throwing it out so casually.
It's so boring. Just, anyways, Ghosts and Goblins. But, I mean, I have rage quit on stream because of that game. I think that stream might even be deleted. I don't think we can find that anymore.
There's no evidence.
I was so mad that I got to the final stage of the first loop and I couldn't do it. I kept having burrito ghosts spawning on me and just all this stupid crap that happens in that game kept happening to me. It's I can't do this. I'm done. And I don't think I chucked the cart, but I know I thought about chucking the cart. I don't think I did because the one that's on my shelf was still that cart, and if I had chucked it, it would not be here anymore. So, when I decided for October Spooktacular this year for that to be the first game I played, I was no, I need to get this done. And it honestly didn't take me that long. I actually got through it much faster than I thought, but man, just finally beating that game, putting it behind me. Now no one can ever say I can't beat that game. So that felt good.
Yeah. I think that that was the most rumblings around the retro community I've heard about. We love your streams. A lot of people wonder, but everyone's, he's going for it, man. He's going for Ghosts. I was he's not gonna do it. He's gonna break the cartridge tonight. Let's watch that. He's just gonna lose his mind.
It's you see in the movies, in the 80s movies, where he's going for it, and all the kids are running into the arcade, and they're all surrounding around. Everyone's running to the computers, to the stream to see Captain.
Or it's
he's playing that game.
Or getting the ECW VHS tape. He's going for the fire! He put it through a table, oh my God!
That's, kind of how it felt.
Yeah. I think for me... So this was 6th grade. Beating Mega Man 6. Because I think that was the first time I ever beat a Mega Man game. And me and my friend had been... It was me and my friend Patrick. I think we had been alternating. And we were on the last level. And... it was at a point where password would not bring you back to where you were. You'd have to go through something ridiculously hard again. We were on the final wily crap. And my mom's okay, time to go to the pool. We're no. She's well, just save it. And I'm that's not how it works, Mom! This is a big moment in our lives. We're becoming men! And so my mom was really insistent we go to the pool. And so we're okay, we're going to leave it on. We're going to leave the system on for 3 hours paused. And pray the cats don't touch it or anything jostle it. We came back and it was still on and it hadn't overheated and burned the house down or anything like that. And like just beating, and like I was the one with the controller and beating Wily, and it was like, yes, this has occurred. And so that I think is my favorite NES moment. And the NES is such a great console. I mean, it has all the feels for some.
You mentioned leaving the console on. Like we've all done that. I swear to God, to this day, there's a Nintendo that's still on that was on since 1987. Somebody's left a game on. I swear to God.
And this one place has had no power outages or anything ever.
Yeah.
We're going to stumble upon... It's going to be like the future dystopian. Yeah. And we're going to come into this house. And it's going to be like this rundown house. And there's going to be a friggin' NES on with like Rygar paused at the end.
It's funny we talk about that, though. As a kid, I never thought of leaving my console on. I just always shut it off and started over. I don't know. That's just kind of the way I always looked at it. So the only time, actually, I've ever done it is when I played Blaster Master this year. It's just because that's kind of a long game and you can't save it all. And it's like, I don't want to start this one over again. So, yeah, that was the first time and only time I've ever left a console on.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. You're great at video games. We all get it. You're amazing.
No, I didn't even occur. It didn't occur to me to ever leave my console on, ever.
No, I don't
know.
It was just kind of like one of those desperation things. It's like, and it felt so taboo to do. Like, literally, like the machine was going to break because we were going to leave it on for like 3 hours. Now, of course, we've been playing like 4 hours before this. And like, it's just like, I don't know, man, leaving it unwatched. This, like, anything can happen. This thing can explode and go nuclear.
Well, yeah, 4 hours is the max, man. Yeah. You can't go past 4 hours.
So, I remember Rygar was the one that I left it on. I went to school, and I was right at the last level. And I remember coming back, and you know how the Nintendo would sometimes it would glitch out. It'd work, but the pixels would be all off. I came back, and Rygar was nothing but a block of pixels. Oh. I still played it, and I beat it.
I was
like, I'm playing through it like this. So I never seen Rygar with the ending myself in pixel perfect.
Well, and now you never can, man.
No.
You need that memory.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is how Rygar is.
Coming home and being like, no.
Maybe that's how it always ends, 8-bit. You just,
maybe.
Right? He just turns into a block.
But you can see where I got my name from. I mean,
oh my gosh, we're going into origin stories. We're getting deep on Contravania tonight. Shoot.
Can I just say also one more thing? Isn't it amazing how all of our moms always thought you could save at any moment, at any time in a video game?
And how amazing is it?
Every mom everywhere.
But, I mean, that means they were futurist, because now you can do that. Like, they understood where the technology was going.
Yeah.
But you still have games you can't, because I'll be playing, and then my wife will be like, can't you save? No. I gotta get to a save point.
Yeah.
Save points. Oh my god, those were the bane of my mother's existence. Like, let me get to a save point, Mom! I just got Rita. She can summon chocobos. Please let me get to a save point. But good times. But transitioning to the greatest system, because it's my turn and it's all about me because I'm special.
Exactly.
Yep, it is.
Super Nintendo, I think, is definitely it's a close between Super Nintendo and PS1 for me, because those hit at the right ages. Like, but Super Nintendo, I mean, when you saw Super Mario Brothers World and the jump that was from even 3, which was a beautiful game for its time, like, games couldn't get prettier in your mind. Like, this is the pinnacle. We have crested the mountain. And I remember when I got one, like, my family had just had some stuff happen. And my mom was like, realized like it was getting to me, and she's like, she picked me up from a birthday party. She's like, hey, let's go get a Super Nintendo. And I'm like, and I completely forgot why. And it wasn't until years later that my mom told me, it's like, yeah, we got you that because that was going on. I'm like, oh, great work. Because like, I now just remember the Super Nintendo. Or, dealing with pain with buying video games, which might be another issue we'll talk through on another episode. That can explain why my collection got really big.
Yeah, that explains a lot.
But no, like the Super Nintendo, just riding on Yoshi, like that Mario had this companion you could ride on. Then I know you two don't like this stuff, but like I discovered Final Fantasy 2, which is now 4, and like that you could tell this story in gaming that you could not have really done beforehand without the instruction manual. The Nintendo games relied so heavily on the instruction manuals to tell you the story, and it's just just why I love gaming to this day. And then Mega Man X, that I love the Mega Man games, and then this was just this was 90s Mega Man clearly. Where you were looking for the armor, the graphics were awesome, the music was like this heavy metal thing that just sounded beautifully on that sound chip. And to this day, to pick up Super Nintendo games, that's what I've got VGM set on exclusively now, is just doing Super Nintendo games. And by the way, there's a 3-box coming video if anyone's interested in a couple of days. I have a little bit of a build up.
Me too.
Yeah, I have these 2 boxes back here. I will not confirm whether or not I know what's in them, but tune in to see me unbox them. But
come on, spoilers. Give some spoilers.
Let's just say one of them, if you lived next door to me, the undead would have gotten to you. So that is all I'll say on one of those games. But yeah, now just still be having experiences like this year discovering Dracula X, which that game, like, I'm generally a video game press defender and apologist. The reviews on that game are so stupid. Like, it's not the TurboGrafx CD one. No, it's not. But it's still a great game, and stop telling what it's not. And then Donkey Kong Country. At the end of its life, seeing Donkey Kong Country and just being like, oh my god, they can keep getting better. Like, the graphics, like, this blows my mind. I still would contend, like, Donkey Kong Country looked better than a lot of stuff that was on the Nintendo 64 even. Now, I know the trick was different of how they programmed it, but yeah, so that's my love of the Super Nintendo. Cap, you're another Super Nintendo enthusiast, even though you've betrayed us and gone over to the dark side.
Why? Just because I went for a complete Genesis collection? Come on,
man. That's money going into Sega's pocket. Oh wait, we're all buying this on the aftermarket.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we had an NES first, but this stuff was all my brothers. The NES, the Super Nintendo, the Genesis. I had a Game Boy. But he was 8 years older than me. I was born in 88. So I know I played the NES first, but I don't have the memories I have for that I have for the Super Nintendo. I just remember just being blown away by the graphics, the music, the sound effects. To this day, I still love explosions on the Super Nintendo more than any other console. I just think it looks and sounds the coolest. And like you said, just the jump from NES to SNES was amazing. You mentioned Donkey Kong Country. DKC 2 is my favorite Super Nintendo game of all time. But the original Donkey Kong Country is also in my top 10 for the console. It's amazing how good they made those games look. It's just phenomenal. Like you said, I'm not big into the whole how things have aged. People say, oh, this game hasn't aged well. I don't like that terminology because when I think of aging, I think of something has changed. But a video game can't change over time. It looks the exact same as it did now that it did when it came out. So I try to avoid that, but there's no denying that Super Nintendo looks better than like you said, the N64, than the PlayStation 1. Sure, that was the first foray into 3D games, but it's just how good that console looks is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I can't get enough of it. I already mentioned Donkey Kong Country, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. I mean, I didn't have it, but my neighbor across the street had it, and I just remember being blown away, being able to throw the foot soldiers at the screen.
Yeah.
That was so cool. It's like, wow, you could do this in a game? Like, it was amazing. Then you use it in the boss fight with Shredder. Like, how awesome was that? There's so many amazing games.
Oh yeah.
And I still, find myself finding more and more amazing games. There's no way any other console will ever top that for me.
No, I'm right there with you. Like, I always still come back to Mega Man X. Like that experience. I remember my friend Patrick, who got the Sega Genesis, had gone to a birthday party and played Mega Man X, and came back and was like, "Hey man, Mega Man X, dude." I don't know, like this. I think Mega Man X2 had already come out. Like, that was back in the day where like release dates and like when you got a game, like it didn't matter like how new it was. It was new to you, and it was freaking awesome. And he told me, he's like, Mega Man X, man, the bad guys are animals. And I was like, really? And we had this store called Microplay near us. That was like the first time I ever had like a used game shop. And I was like, went home, looked for stuff I could trade, and went and picked it up that day. And I think I got an inbox copy for like $30, which memories. And I think I promptly threw the box away. So yeah, because
we all did.
But God, like playing Chill Penguin stage for the first time and getting those boots and the effects, like what you talking about with the explosions, the effects were so freaking cool. The Mode 7 twirling and we need to do a whole Super Nintendo episode at some point in time. So Cap, you'll be coming back for that one.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, Shawnee, what about you? Is Super Nintendo? I don't know if I've ever talked a lot about Super Nintendo with you. Is that one of your big ones? Like, because your age, like, we're all at these like cutoff ages where what it was really big to us might actually not be big for the other ones.
For me, Super Mario World was definitely one that was a big wow for me. And it's actually me and my wife's favorite game. It's like one we played a lot, like when we were first together. We played it almost like every night, like religiously for like years. But I would say Link to the Past is what really awoke in the Super Nintendo love for me. I remember distinctly when I got that, playing it the whole summer until I beat it. And I can right now envision, remember clearly those days, those summer days, playing that in my room and stuff. So Link to the Past holds a special spot in me for awakening my love of Super Nintendo. To be honest, I wouldn't say Super Nintendo is like high on my list of favorite consoles, to be honest. But because of Link to the Past, it's definitely needs to be in my collection, let's just say.
Can we kick 8-Bit out as one of the co-hosts?
No.
Can I be your new co-host, John? Like,
well, it's to say we don't, we need more than just one co-host. I mean, but this is the thing. Like, this is what we're promoting. Like, we love everyone, even when they're so blatantly wrong and just so off. But like, I do want to touch on some 8-Bit. Like, let's get into a controversial subject because I think we'll all agree on this. I think the three of us will agree, and then the little people that are younger than us will get whiny. Link to the Past, far superior to Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
That is my stance. No, Cap isn't there. Dude,
nope.
All Ocarina of Time is just a 3D remake of Link to the Past. Such a better game.
Sorry.
I like Ocarina of Time. Trust me. Yeah. I like it. I love it. But I got to put Link to the Past a notch above it.
So you got to realize where I'm coming from. So Ocarina of Time was really the first Zelda game that I actually played through to completion. So I remember being like in first grade and going to my buddy's house, and he had The Legend of Zelda, and we played it for like 10 minutes, and that was it. And I was like, this game's not very fun. Let's go play Contra or Mario or something. And then I missed A Link to the Past. I missed Link's Awakening. Like, I missed all of that. I just, for some reason, even though I love the Super Nintendo, we never got A Link to the Past. And then the N64 came out. I didn't even get it for that originally. My neighbor had it, and I played it there, and I was like, this is kind of fun. So I finally bought myself a copy in college, and I went and played through it. And I love it. It's not my favorite Zelda game, but I don't have the nostalgia for Link to the Past that a lot of people do. I didn't play it until after college, and I think I played it through once, and I haven't really touched it since.
Yeah, you can't.
It's
really
great.
You can't really be talking about kicking people off the show now, man. I'm about to just end this Zoom call. Like, I had a whole other list of questions to go through, but no, you're wrong.
And I feel so bad. You were like, yeah, we're all going to agree on this. This is going to be good. And then you said the question, like, oh, crap.
Well, let's just all agree that Wind Waker's freaking awesome. No.
Yeah.
You know what? I was all excited and going to be cheering with you on that one because I thought you were going to say Wind Waker was bad, but no. Then you had to do that to me.
Wind Waker's awesome. I think it's better than Ocarina, but
that's about it.
We'll leave that for another. We'll leave that when we need to like get a hot, really angry episode when stuff's going on. All right, so I want to do a little quick round before we close it up because we're hitting time. So this is a paragraph answer for each of us. What is your favorite console that didn't really have mainstream success? Like the Wii U, the Sega Saturn, TurboGrafx 16, things you might have come to in their time, but they just weren't the thing. They're kind of the cult systems. What is your favorite cult system and a little bit of why? I'll go ahead and answer while y'all think. Use those beautiful, brilliant brains of y'all's. Oh god, I like a lot of cult systems. I think for me, it's the Sega Saturn, because early on, I was a supporter of the black box over the PlayStation. I really thought the Sega Saturn was going to be the one, mainly because I thought Virtua Fighter was the craziest looking thing I'd ever seen. I was wrong. And that set up a very futurist. I am not a futurist in the video game console market. Everything I pick is the loser. Since, I'm an Xbox fan. But I think for me, that Sega Saturn, even still to this day, there were so many amazing games, especially 2D fighters. My love of 2D fighters. Street Fighter Alpha, I got mine and got Street Fighter Alpha with it. Such an amazing game. And it looked so good. It's once again one of those moments they can't get better than this. It looked like animation. It actually looked like a cartoon to me. And Guy, there was something about how Guy walked. I was like, that animation is beautiful. And then, there's still amazing games. The only problem I have with the Sega Saturn now is that it's so expensive to collect for, because there's a lot of dorks like me who love that system. So, 8-bit.
Well, first of all, you might be sad to know that I traded my Saturn in my collection for one NES title this year.
What was it?
What was the game?
What was the title you got?
Mighty Final Fight.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't agree with that, but I understand the value. I understand why you
And to be fair, the Saturn didn't really work well.
Some of them
every 10 minutes it seemed to restart the game to the menu and act like there's no disc in the drive.
Okay, so, give me at least one of the Saturn games you got rid of.
Sonic Jam was one.
Okay, that's the Sonic collection,
Alone in the Dark. There's an Alone in the Dark title.
Okay.
See, that's how much I played it. I don't even remember my game. I'd have to look at an old list of my collection to see, because that's how bad it was. It literally sat in a box.
I started this episode thinking
on my shelf.
I stared this episode thinking we're all going to be friends afterwards, but I'm not sure if we'll even talk to each other.
I have a feeling
this is the end of Contravania.
I have a feeling in a couple of weeks when he films a new one, I'm gonna be like, he's gonna be like, no, we're not doing one this week, 8-bit. No, don't worry about it. You don't have to be there. And then there's going to be a release with 4 other people. I was like, what gives? What happened?
Welcome to our new co-host, Captain Algebra Glitch 79. It's like 8-bit, but it's younger and better. All right, but now, what's your obscure system?
For me?
Yeah.
You pick. Oh, I was next. Okay. You know what? I don't really think I really have one, unless you count the Vita.
The Vita?
As one. Yeah.
I thought you said Rita, and I'm like, no, that's a Power Ranger thing. We've done that episode. That's not Linda! That's Cap! No, but yeah, the Vita. No, I think the Vita counts. I think the Vita is definitely a cult system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I said, I got rid of my Saturn because I didn't really play it much, and I didn't have any like nostalgic connection to it. It didn't really. I rather have another game, a real expensive game that I wanted to play and have in the collection. But the Vita, I just in this last like few months have just really opened my eyes to it, and I've really got a real neat connection to it. Mm-hmm. I'm really enjoying the journey I'm starting on it. So I'd have to say that. Other than that, I mean, I don't really have any other. The Action Max?
Yeah, I was about to say, you do have that. You have your VHS.
Yeah, the VHS system. I mean, the Sega CD is maybe the only other console I have that's on that like edge of that like tipping point of being in that category. But everything else I have is pretty mainstream consoles. So yeah, I'm pretty boring, I guess, when it comes to that.
While I find your treatment of the Saturn to be abhorrent, I do agree. Like, I think the Vita is a good console, and I think Vita will be a retro thing that a lot of people search for and quest for along the lines of what the Saturn is now. So, Cap, what about you, man?
So I'm torn. I can't pick between two, so it's a tie between TurboGrafx and the Wii U. So TurboGrafx, I didn't even know existed until I started collecting and watching YouTube, and all of a sudden, like, I saw Pat the NES Punk talk about it, and I'm like, it'd be the Game Genie. I'm like, what is this TurboGrafx 16 console, and why does it look amazing?
Yeah.
And then I found out how expensive the games were. I was like, oh, okay, well, that sucks. But fortunately, I was able to do a trade with Do You Nerd and got my TurboGrafx console.
Nice.
And while I only have like 10 games, like, I've been completely enamored with all the games I've played. Like, Blazing Lasers is one of my favorite shooters of all time. The Bonk games are good. Splatterhouse is phenomenal on that one. Legendary Axe is really good. I think because it reminds me a lot of the Super Nintendo and like the graphics and the sound and stuff, that's kind of why I like it. And then the second one would be the Wii U. So I got it because I went to my buddy Seth's house. He had a Wii U, and we were playing, 3D World, Mario 3D World. And I fell in love with that game instantly. So I was like, Rachel, I need to get a Wii U so I can play this game. So we were in Walmart, and they had them. They were pretty cheap, so I grabbed it. And at the time, I didn't even know it was like a failing console. I was just like excited to have the new Nintendo console. And I don't know, there's that game. There's Captain Toad Treasure Tracker that I love. Hyrule Warriors. I've never been one of those warrior style games, but Hyrule Warriors was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot to be said of how much of the library is ported to the Switch.
Oh yeah.
So many people want those games because they're phenomenal. Nintendo definitely screwed up with how they marketed that console. But it's a phenomenal console, and I don't know, I love it. I don't play it as much as I used to, but I need to get back to it.
I'm right there with you with both of those. The Wii U, of course. I was going for a full set on that one, but I finally just was like, there's other games I want versus having just this set I can point to. But yeah, the Wii U has some great titles. And like you said, like, most of it's on the Switch now and is like killing it on the Switch. I think Mario Kart 8 is the highest selling Switch game of the console's life. A lot of that because I think they bundled it with it, but it was also like 50% of people who bought a Wii U had Mario Kart, so it had a ridiculously high attach rate. But yeah, the Wii U, it was a fun console, and you're right. What killed that system wasn't necessarily the system itself; it was just mismarketing and understanding. Everyone thought it was an accessory,
right?
And people just did not. It didn't grab people like the Wii, and also I think the end of the Wii's life really hurt Nintendo. I mean, of course, there was that huge spike at the top, but then like by the end of it, like nothing worthwhile came out on that.
Right.
And then
Just Dance is still coming out. What are you talking about?
Excuse me. Yeah, Just Dance is still hitting the Wii pretty strong. I mean, the install base is huge. I get it. Those games don't take a lot of resources. And then the I just got a TurboGrafx 16 last year. I'm going to say, I'm going to be honest, I think you helped pay for it.
I bought so many damn games from you.
With the games you bought from me, I was like, yeah, this is one of the systems, and it is a little hard to collect for, but the games are on it. It's this neat little half step between Nintendo and Super Nintendo. Yep. It looks really polished and clean, but clearly not as advanced as Super. And Sega's a little closer, but still not as. It's still a little bit above. But yeah, it's a fun little underrated console, and I don't know why, but I think the cards are a really cool. Just a cool medium. I'm this is so cool.
I love the Hue cards.
This is a cool little medium to put plug. Video Game Dust Sleeves has Bandana Gamer TurboGrafx 16 sleeves, so make sure to check those out and pick those up. Video Game Dust Sleeves, the official Bandana Gamer merchandise holder. And both of these fine gentlemen have dust sleeves with Video Game Dust Sleeves.
True.
But so cool. Well, thank you both for being on. Quick, before we sign off, let's make sure y'all plug some of the amazing content y'all put out there. 8-Bit Glitch, what's going on with you, my friend?
Well, I obviously gotta catch up on some VGM boxes, so be on the lookout for that. But my 12 Nostalgic Days of Christmas will be starting up in a few days. Oh God, I better get to work on that. We'll be starting up pretty soon, and I'm reaching out to anybody who wants to do a segment. I know, Bandana, you've already sent me something. You were one of the first, you messaged me right away. You're you doing it this year? Can I do it? Can I do it? Yeah. You're please let me do it.
Hey, just post this video of me talking about something I remember. Show that I remember things.
Yep. So be on the lookout for that, and I'm looking for anybody who wants to add a segment to any of the episodes. I've gotten a few entries, so I'm hoping to try to do something a little bit different this year as far as the formatting. So
nice.
Cool. Cap, what's up with you, man?
Well, I'm back on YouTube after taking a month off, so yeah, that's exciting. I was kind of a little burnt out and stuff, and I just needed a break, and it was nice not having to stream twice a week and stuff. But I got my first stream back in last Friday with my Genesis A to Z, so I'll be continuing that. I think we're on episode 89, and my next one will be Michael Jackson Moonwalker. So excited to sit down and play that. Yeah, I gotta get my best woohoo practice in so I could do it for the game.
Or just call 8-Bit and throw that over the speaker.
Yeah, exactly. It's hey, that was pretty damn good. I don't know if I can follow that up now. So I'll be streaming Tuesdays also, doing some requests and playing some random games that I want to play. Video Games Monthly should be coming for December, so I'll be doing that as well as getting back to my Genesis collection chronicles, going through all the games that I'm collecting towards my complete set. So I haven't done one since I went to Mo Game Con, so I have to do the games I got at Midwest and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of a few things that are happening in Captain Algebra.
Yes. Cool, man. Well, of course, Contravania is here. I'm popping back on YouTube after a little bit of a break. I just take hiatuses. But having fun doing this. Hopefully we can get some streaming time this week as I heal up and just get back into things. And kind of want to just do a Forza Horizon 5 and chill kind of stream, because that is a fun, chill game. And as someone who drives in Washington, D.C., it's nice to drive where you can actually go, instead of just sit there for 5 minutes and then move 5 feet. But yeah, so it's a great fantasy game if anyone's looking for fantasy titles. But yeah, so want to thank you both for being here. Y'all are both amazing dudes. Y'all, I can't thank both of you enough for all the support you have given me when I've on this YouTube hobby journey, whatever. Y'all both been there very early on, possibly from the beginning. I remember Cap's first comment was explaining to me what Rygar was when I got it in a VGM box, because I had no clue. I was like, Tecmo made it, yay! And 8-Bit, I think me and you started out at the same time. I was like, this guy's going to steal my thunder. No. It's fun to talk to you both on streams and in these Zooms and have fun. So thank you both for being part of this and part of videos in the past. You are both gentlemen of the highest caliber, and I thank you both.
Thanks for having me, man. It was a blast.
So, and Cap, you're always welcome. I hope we're going to do a co-op one and have both you and Megadan on. He's busy these days. He's got that fancy.
I don't know if Dan and I can coexist on streams, though. I mean, we kind of you
don't
butt heads a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what we're going for. Hardball. Like let's break up the mega powers.
I think we're at the part where the mega powers start to break up. Elizabeth's
this is
getting between us.
This is 8-Bit's going to be Miss Elizabeth. You're going to get really jealous that Mega Dan is supporting her.
No, but that'd be really fun to go on here with Mega Dan.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get him on. And everyone, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. And we will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.